How's everybody doing? Today we're going to do a betta fish. So it's going to have its body turning to the side, and then the tail's going to be fanning up like this. And I wanted to do it in a number of different colors, basically the whole rainbow minus green. So it's pretty simple to draw the body. We're just going to start out with a half circle type shape like this, where it just hooks around towards the back. This is the shape of the body of the fish. And then the tail is going to go off in this direction. And then we will have the fanning fins coming out here. Alright, the pectoral fin will come off in this direction and curve around where the bottom fin is still coming out from the bottom. So the lines of the fins sort of fan out in this direction from the tail, especially on this side. This one comes out of the top of the tail, and then it fans out from the back on this side all the way down to here, and this fin sort of comes just up to the mouth, and then you've got another fin coming out from underneath that fans downwards, and then this fin is coming out of the side of the fish and comes to the right. So let's put the eye in. That's going to be right here, just a big circle, and some lips that curve upwards like this. Come meet the lips down there. Alright, it's a good start. We can see the back of the other eye on this side. And let's start coloring. So I wanted to make the colors on the top of the fish fairly simple and light. So I'm going to use an orange that goes all the way across the top of the fish towards the back with a sort of speckly texture because the light's coming down from above. I'll continue that down right between the eyes towards the lips, and then we can transition from this into red. So I'm going to mostly shade the fish in, leaving little parts of white here and there to give the fish some texture, and I'm trying to follow along the curve of the fish's body like that. The fish has some gills back here, so that's going to be extra dark, but we'll get to that when we switch colors again in just a second. We're going to go from red to a little bit of magenta. If you have it, you can skip this step. Obviously, if you don't have it, you can just continue with red. We're about to switch to purple, so this just helps the transition in between red and purple. There we go. Alright, now let's get into purple on the side of the fish. And we're going to continue this purple a good ways down, but I think we will switch into another lighter color because it's going to be like there's light coming up from the bottom here. Alright. So to light the bottom of the fish, I think we'll go back into magenta and just leave some along this bottom edge to warm it up and show that the purple doesn't continue all the way down. Alright, so don't forget this last part of the tail here. Instead of making this orange, even though it's on the top, I'm also going to add a little bit of red and magenta just to show that this part of the tail slopes downwards a little bit like this. I want to make sure that the texture is extra small back there on the tail because it's far away from us, so we're not going to see as much detail as we do in the texture up here. Alright, and you know what, we can just finish that off in magenta. Good. So there's the body of our fish. We just need to add some black to the lips and the eye to get that to stand out. Great, now we can get to the fun part of this drawing. I think I want to start with a little bit of blue that will help differentiate the fins from the body. The body is mostly warm colors except for purple, and blue will help kind of get that tail to stand out. So I'm going to start real small here with some lines that fan out. And I want to allow for some purple to come through as well, because the body, especially right here on the tail, is pretty much magenta. So purple and magenta are very close to each other on the color wheel, and they will match up and help the transition. Alright, let's get some lighter blue going up this side. And we'll start transitioning into purple up here as well. We don't want to place the purple across the entire thing, but just in certain spots where there's fins fanning outwards. I think we will do the same except with dark blue over here. So let's add some dark blue onto the ends of each fin that we have fanning out on this side. Alright, I think I'd like to carry some of the magenta from the tail out into this part of the tail so we have like a warmer section. So this area is going to be magenta. Alright. We need to also do something down here, so I think I'm going to take some of the blue that we were using earlier for the beginning of the tail and use that on the underside of the fish. follow that up with a little bit of light blue in this area. There we go. All right. Next, we're going to have some light blue in this area. I want to make sure that this area is different than that area because this is sort of the back side of the fin. We're seeing a different part of the fin just in this teardrop shaped area that I'm coloring blue. Alright, so to make sure that this area looks different, I'm going to emphasize that purple and dark blue right in this section and bring it all the way up to where the head is. Looking good. Alright. So in the areas where we transitioned from dark blue into purple, I want to start using magenta. Now, the rule of thumb is you want to try to keep colors that are next to each other in the rainbow next to each other on the tail so that there's a sort of transition. So magenta is in between red and purple. So anywhere that you see red or purple, you can put magenta. And if you put that magenta on purple, then you want to probably put some red on it on the next side. If you put it on red, then you probably want to put some purple on it to transition into purple. So it all sort of works together. I'm going to use some red in these magenta areas to create a transition into orange over here. I think I'd like to get some red going right here on this fin, just at the very beginning of it. Okay, we haven't had a whole lot of orange in the drawing so far, but now we've got a lot of red on the fins, and red is right next to orange on the color wheel. So let's throw that orange in there. I'll put a link to the color wheel in the description so that you can see a picture of it and not have to keep wondering, okay, should I put magenta next to orange or blue next to purple? For the record, the answer is you don't want to put magenta next to orange, but you do want to put blue next to purple. Okay, so let's get back to this area where this blue is fanning out and we've kind of added some purple in there. Let's take this in the other direction and put blue on it. So we're going to go from blue back into purple. Into dark blue. And why not? We'll go right back into light blue to finish out this part of the fin. Alright, I think I'd like to add some magenta in this area. Choice is totally up to you. And warm it up into red and orange. You can also throw some red in here.
You're not holding a big rat.
Alright, I like how this is coming along. So we need to get from blue into another color. So this is one of the trickier spots because the only way to go from blue, since we don't have the whole color wheel, is back towards, let's see, purple goes here. This is the order we're working in, so the only way to get back from blue is to go back into darker blue, if we're sticking with our rule of butting like colors up against each other, and I think I will do that. So I'm going back into darker blue, and then I'll tag some purple on the end to finish off this bottom fin. Okay, so I think it's going to be good if we can just bring out some lines on the fins that help accentuate the fish. So I'm just shading a little blue onto the bottom of this area. I think I might throw a little red down here just to show that the face is here and the fins are there. You can also go after areas where there's an excessive amount of white left and fill it in with color if you'd like to do that. Alright, I think we're just about ready to call this drawing done. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this lesson and that it works for you. If the fish is not your cup of tea, you can feel free to do any animal that you want. Just make sure that it has some sort of flowy fur, hair, or fins that you can use this technique on. You can also use any colors that you want, and I hope you guys have fun with this. Alright, see you next time.